Part 1 of the Maguire's Bathurst 12 hour is about to get underway. The thing that we've been building to all week is about to get underway, and it's going to be live and uninterrupted here. I'll bring you all the coverage of the Maguire's Bathurst 12 hour, and now we've got 45 GT3 cars about to hit the track. It's going to be a very fun morning indeed. The cars make their run up to the top of the mountain. Hello and welcome to the Maguire's Bathurst 12 hour. This is going to be a fun race weekend. I am very much excited. The cars, though, hitting the top of the mountain now for free practice 1. The first time that these cars have hit the track in what could be nearly 4 months, since, of course, this is the Intercontinental GT Challenge Championship that they're running off here this weekend. So plenty to do, plenty to see, but it's now time for FP1, free practice 1. You can hear there in the background John Hindhaugh, Matt Nolte and Garth Tander up in the World Feed commentary box, in the Ford Performance commentary box as well. That should be exciting, and we'll be dropping down to them throughout this first free practice session. Hope you're all very excited here to get this first practice session underway. This should be quite exciting. The cars, though, hitting the track. There it is. The commentary box right there. Matt Nolte, Garth Tander, and John Hindhaugh up there in the booth. And they've got control of almost everything up there at the moment as we get ready for the start of this free practice session. Of course, 40 GT cars. We've got different classes compared to what we've been streaming in the recent past. We've got the GT3 Pro-Am class, we've got the GT4 class, we've even got the GT3 class as well. John Hindhaugh up on the commentary box, along with Matt Nolte and Garth Tander, your commentary team here from Mount Panorama. It'll be quite exciting, and here the GT3 cars out there at the moment. We've got 3 GT4 cars this weekend, and that's just the start of it. Should be quite exciting. The fans have been absolutely packing in here at the mountain on this early Friday morning. It's been what it has been, an absolute amazing build up to the start of this weekend. Now, of course, the World Feed will be covering you through the start of this practice session. I will be trying to do as much as I possibly can, but to run you through the first little bit of this session, we're going to hand it up to the World Feed to get their thoughts, their more or less opinions on this weekend, should I say. Here, I'm just trying to find the World Feed, when the World Feed starts on our coverage here. So yeah, let's now head down and head up to the World Feed for all the live coverage.
Welcome back to Bathurst. You've been away for a while. Does it feel any different?
No, it feels the same. It feels great to be back. I mean, it's one of the best tracks in the world. It's one of the places everyone wants to come race. So when Corvette asked me to come down, I was like, oh, hell yeah. To be honest, we're actually testing in Qatar this weekend with Cadillac, and I didn't even really check the schedule. So when I realized it's the same weekend, I was like, come on, guys, you have to let me go. So it's really nice that they allow me to come down here and represent a different part of the brand, and it's really awesome to be here with JMR and Nicky and Simpsy.
Yeah, and it's Simpsy's first trip to the mountain. How do you get him ready for such a big event?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we were lucky lucky enough that we could utilise the DIL in Charlotte. So Simsy and myself did a day in the DIL. We've got a full motion platform car of this rig of this car. So we were there an entire day, learned the mountain. Well, I relearned the mountain. It took me about 10 minutes of crashing before I could do a lap. And then yeah, Simsy had a day on there as well. So it's really good just to get acclimatised, but he's going to go out later in the session. I'm sure he'll be wide-eyed first time at the mountain.
This place, it's such a magical event to get to come here and race in the 12-hour. You're in your street clothes, effectively. You're waiting until it heats up in the afternoon. How difficult is it when the morning conditions are like this and you're trying to get a read on the car? This is not representative for the Bathurst we know.
No, I mean, it's not even 9 o'clock, so I don't work before 9. But no, it's cold and the weather's conditions changing. Like a week ago, it was going to be 40 degrees. Now it looks like it's going to sort of be like this temperature for the race. So we've got a couple of early morning sessions, and we've got one late afternoon one. So it's going to be really interesting. Just try to dial the car into the track conditions, and I think it's going to rubber up a lot. Like it was quite dirty yesterday. We walked the track, so I think it's going to really rubber in.
Everyone's been talking about the big deal between you racing against your own team. But the thing I'm more interested in, Corvette bringing such effort to the mountain. Have you guys been given any orders to go out and try and get pole, try and put the thing on the headlines on Saturday?
I think they're here to win, right? That's what every single team in the pit lane comes here to do. So, you know, we're really excited to bring the Corvette here. You know, I did the first season with it, when this car launched in GT3, and you know, to be here with Nicky and Simsy. Nicky was teammates in America with, and Alex and there, like they're two world-class drivers as well. So it's awesome that JMR's also supported the effort to bring it here. We have a lot of people from Corvette and from America, so you know, we really want to build a presence and we want to be on the podium and hopefully the top step.
One of the best drivers yet to win the race overall. Good luck fixing that this week, girl.
Thanks.
Yeah, that should be quite exciting there, the JMR team. Of course, with that brand new Corvette engine coming into this weekend. We'll show you the Corvette and the Mustang as well throughout the coverage. But yeah, many different cars, many different classes as well. We've got the GT3 class, we've got the GT3 Pro-Am class, which the Pro-Am drivers in the Pro-Am class will be very interesting to watch this weekend. We've also got the GT4 class, along with the IRC class here this weekend. So there's about 5 different classes that you can all catch up on. So that will be very interesting indeed to see how we all get used to that. But of course, we'll get used to all the racing and all the cars with man, the myth, the legend himself, John Hindhaugh, Garth Tander, and Matt Nolte. They're all up in the commentary box. Let's head it up to them, shall we? Maybe not. Okay, let's set it up now to John Hindhaugh, Matt Nolte, and Garth Tander. 3rd time's the charm.
At one stage, in fact for a lot of the race, Garth, at the Dubai Autodrome, they were running 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2 WRT cars and the 2 Paladin cars down at Young's teams. They were running 1,
They
2.
look very strong there.
Yeah,
Very, very strong.
Yeah.
Great to see Lee Holdsworth at the top of the timing screen. He's gone purple actually on this lap as well, getting nice towed by one of the Mercs as he heads down Conrod Straight.
Just leaves over 270k before the Kinkin Maui R8 GT3 car and get up the inside. This is a great combo. Mark Sini, Lee Holdsworth, Dean Fiore. If you want a good espresso, head down there, and if you want a good laugh, most occasions head down to the Hallmark Property Group side of the Melbourne Performance Centre, Team MPC Garage. They've been doing this race for a long time, dating all the way back to a Porsche back in the day, as Kai Allen goes quickest now in the Penrite Racing Mercedes AMG with a 2-minute 04.38 GT. But you've pointed out something.
I just want to point out the gap to second. It's currently 0.000.
Literally nothing. 204.385 for Allen and a 204.385 for Lee Holdsworth.
And 204.46 for Jules Gounon, who now goes to the top. The top 3 only covered by 7/100ths of a second, 20 minutes into the first section of the weekend. If this is a little preview on what it's going to be like for the rest of the weekend, bring it on.
Welcome to Bathurst. What a season for Kai Allen. Last year, his rookie season in Supercars finished 4th in the championship. That's got a future wherever he goes, hasn't it?
He certainly has, and he's done a very nice job in this car as well. He went over at the Dubai 24 with the Groves, and that car was run by Get Speed, and he was part of the driving roster with Jules Gounon, and certainly had his notebook out over the course of the whole weekend, because if there's anyone to learn how to drive a Mercedes GT3 car from, it's Jules Gounon. So came back very strong, did a one-day test with that car down at Phillip Island, and was very fast. Very, very fast, very impressive. So only a small amount of GT3 driving for Kai, as a very young driver just starting out his professional journey, but look to see him doing a lot more GT stuff in the future.
There's an element of Brock Feeney about that, because Brock, when he got that opportunity in the 888 Merc here, had never driven a GT3 car and rolled in and ultimately put the thing on the front row, and like, oh, right, okay, and he's since become one of the best local GT3 drivers, very successful in GT World Challenge Australia, and helped Brad Schumacher to the championship last year. So there's a bit of a vibe about that. It's a good squad too. The Groves have put together. Will Davison, two-time Bathurst 1000 champ, guy with a lot of starts in this race in GT cars as well. Back with that squad. He'll be enduro driver in the supercars, but good to see him there. And Brenton Grove, so they've gone the Kenny Habul route with this car, which is basically Brenton would be an AM driver if he was decided to race under his seating, but they've entered in the pro class, which they can do, but he will be up to the job. It's going to be a fascinating story to see how they play out. And there's 3 cars in the pro class going down that pathway. So the Penrite car, the Audi Team MPC entry with Brad Schumacher, who wants to have a crack at winning this race outright. Remember a couple of years ago, Liam Talbot finished on the podium in exactly the same scenario. And then, of course, the 75 Express Sun Energy One Racing Kenny Habul car with Jules Gounon, Lucas Stoles, and the unofficial mayor of Bathurst himself.
It's the Kenny strategy. I think
The Kenny rule.
We started rolling that last year in the race, because a lot of people, this was the only car that did it when they won it, and then everyone's like, that's a good idea, and it's effectively, to your point, the Kenny rule, the Kenny strategy.
And he actually affected a rule change in IMSA competition between the pro class in GT3 and the standard class, the GTD as it's called over there, GT Daytona, and they actually increased the amount of time that the non-pro driver has to do in the pro class at the Rolex 12 House this year. So the Kenny rule is actually now a real rule.
You and I had a phone call in 2023 when we went back to a fully pro race. It was Pro-Am all the way through in 2022, and the race came back after a little pause in 2021. And we looked at that and went, what are they doing? That should be a Pro-Am car. And then we found that little loophole in the rule book that said a bronze rank driver in the professional class has no minimum driver time. So it's down to the 2 pro drivers, get the most out of them you possibly can. And there where the Kenny rule was born. I'm really pleased it's never been changed either, because it's opened up this opportunity for Brad Schumacher, for Liam Talbot a couple of years ago, scored an outright podium finish against professional drivers. Chris Haase did a lot of the heavy lifting at the end of that race, but still, you've got to put yourself in the position. So I like that. It keeps the democratic nature of this race, where you can still rock up and have a go and dare to dream that maybe a Bathurst win is in your future, an outright win, not necessarily a class win. Cam Waters has gone quickest, by the way, in 222 Scott Taylor Motorsports Mercedes AMG at 204.1. A couple of tenths quicker than Brenton Grove, who's now behind the wheel of that Penrite car. Dean Fiore behind the wheel of the Hallmark Audi. Chris Haase, the man himself, is currently scored in 4th place, and Gounon, who punched out that 204.4 and immediately went to pit lane, is 5th. Marco Mappelli is here this weekend, the Italian, a factory Lambo driver, back with Wall Racing and Adrian Dietz' team in the brilliantly liveried Lamborghini Huracan Evo GT3. Valentino Rossi's behind the wheel of car 46. Then it's Kay Quinn. Now, we're going to have to work out a system here, whether it's Clark or Kent. I'm actually going to work on that, because That one's just popped up in the back of my mind. Fontana and Campbell rounding out the top 10. We can go back down to pit lane and say good morning to Shay Adam once again.
I've actually found a warm garage, guys, so I'm going to hide out here for a little bit. And that's because the Ford Mustang GT3 was just in having some checks done to this beautiful blue number 65 machine. And two of the drivers were standing around watching the work being done. One of them, hello, Christopher Mees. How are you, my friend?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Welcome back to the mountain. Is this your first time racing here, not in a car that we've long associated you with, but this time in a Ford?
You're 100% correct. First time here with the Ford Mustang GT3, so yeah, really looking forward and really happy to be here.
Is it strange to come here and be garaged so much further down towards pit in than we're used to seeing you?
Actually, I think it's good because the pit lane here is flat, so we have no issues with rolling backwards or forward, so I think it's pretty good for us.
We didn't expect the weather to be like this, where we would need sweaters. How is that affecting the way that you guys have on your setup for the Ford?
Well, we don't have a setup really yet, right? We have no baseline. We have never been here with the car, so actually for us it doesn't really matter. Obviously the colder the better in general for race cars, so I think everything is set up for a quick weekend.
You didn't learn anything in the sim to put on the car to take it off the truck, so to speak?
Oh, ads! Go away.
Every day, but once you come to the real track, you never know if it really works. So we just need to find our baseline now and where we're all happy with, and then fine tune it.
With you, Rock Feeney, and Dennis Olsen in the car, it's three guys who know how to win at the mountain. Do you feel like your odds are maybe a little bit better than somebody else bringing in a brand new race car?
Well, I hope so. I hope that's why Ford has chosen us. Obviously, yeah, I think experience here is quite important. The sessions are very short. Drive time is very limited. So, yeah, let's see how it goes.
With effectively only 80 minutes of practice today for your car, how critical is it to try and get as many laps as you can?
It's very critical. I mean, luckily so far there was no red flag. We were expecting a few of them during the day or at least during the weekend. So the more laps we get, the better it is.
Is there anything that translates to the car that you've learned over a course of IMSA racing that now helps you out here?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we know the car inside out now. It's a pre-Evo car, so we have all the setup from last year from IMSA, but also from GT World Challenge where HRT is racing usually. So we try to combine the best, and so far I think it's going well for the first time out on track.
It's definitely one of the best looking cars off track. Good luck.
Thank you.
Chris Mees chatting to Shay Adam. Chris, the most experienced international driver in the history of the Maguires, Bathurst 12-hour double winner, a guy that you know very well, Garth Tander, and Challenge Bathurst a couple of years ago, traded some very, very fast lap times in an unrestricted Audi R8. Great to have him back in what is a really strong combination of Ford Mustang.
It certainly is, and he has a huge amount of experience here in particular, but also in Australia, so understands the racing conditions. He did a couple of years of Australian GT. I was his teammate in 1 year, and we had a lot of fun racing against each other in the championship, but also here at the 12-hour. I think we did 3 or 4 of them together. His nickname is Mombat, M-O-M-B-A-T.
Explain that.
Because that's what he thought the pronunciation was for a wombat. So the German, Australian accents got a little bit mixed up, and he was calling him Mombats for a while. So Chris himself is quite small and quite stocky, a lot like a wombat, so he got the nickname Mombat. So I don't know if they carried over to Ford, so I might go down to the Ford garage this weekend and just speak to the HRT team and just say, you need to have a little sticker
I was going to say,
on the car.
needs to be the logo on there next to his name on there.
One year where it was Christopher Mees, Christopher Haase and myself sharing the car, so we had, and Haase in Germany is rabbit. Yeah. So we had a picture of a wombat, a rabbit, and a kangaroo on the car. That was actually quite cool. The Germans had no idea what was going on. The good old Australian sense of humour was in full swing at Milk Performance Centre that year.
Chris is one of those guys who behind the wheel is an absolute demon, but out of the car, just such a lovely bloke.
Very chill.
Quiet,
yeah.
Very softly spoken. Like, what he says is worth listening to, but he completely changes when he gets in the car.
Yes.
It's incredible.
He's an animal in the car. He's a, you know, when wombats are hungry and they're aggressive.
Oh yeah,
that's him.
If they need to get through you to get a feed, they are going. Absolutely. watching down at Penrite Racing. So Will Davison and Kai Allen just watching on. Their car currently in third. Mostert behind the wheel of the 222. Alex Peroni's done a nice job in the BRM. Car number 268. That's the ACMF Audi R8. So he's gone second for 204.16. So 5 thousandths of a second behind Mostert. Grove next. Charles Beard just put the 32 car the personal best lap up to 7th position in the 204.5 and is going on with that as well. It's Marco Sapelli Rossi and one of the 2 K Queens behind the wheel of car 101. It's a lap time right in at the start of the session.
It's a mega first sector by Weird in the BMW. It's 4 tenths up on anything else we've seen to that point. So if he carries on with that one, it's predicted to be a low 3. So that'll be significant. The fastest lap time from this session last year, interestingly, was Augusto Farfus, I think. Oh no, it was actually Kelvin van der Linde who did a 2:02.9. So fastest right now is a 4:1. So that lap time by the BMW last year was done on lap 6, so it would have been done by now, effectively, in this session, if they were going to match it. So Weirt's now pressing on, and it's still looking like it could be a low 3, so we'll keep an eye on that one as we track Brenton Grove in the Penrite Mercedes. Brenton was also over at the Dubai 24, so he's got plenty of laps already this year. Had 5 drivers in the car there at that race, and Chris Lullum was part of that with Jules Gounon, and both those drivers end up this year will be driving for Max Verstappen's new PT3 Mercedes team in GT World Challenge in Europe. So it was interesting to get their take on things, and Brenton as well had the notebook out, taking notes from those guys, as you would.
I had a long chat with Chris Lullum in the lane. I did more work down in the lane than the booth at the 24. Really enjoyed it, and another softly spoken lad, but my goodness me, has he come on from the world of virtual racing,
from the sim world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, Kai Allen's a very gun sim operator and runs the sim at Grove Racing.
Oh, go away, ads.
Engineers and everything, and he said he got as much out of talking to Chris about the sim stuff, but he did getting out of Jules talking about the real world IRL stuff in real world. So in real life, it's fascinating to see where motorsport's heading with that stuff, with the sim drivers coming into the real world, and now we've seen a little bit of it in the past with the Nissan program, but now it's starting to actually get real crossover.
That lap from Viet's was good enough to put the BMW quicker, so first into the 3s so far this weekend.
So 203.6. We've got Charles Wirtz on top in the 32 BMW on a 203.6 so far. And Chaz Mostert sits in P2 with Tony Brooks in P3, Brenton Grove, Dean Fure, and Will Brown in P6, followed by Lucas Stoltz, Marco Mapelli, who sits in P8, Valentino Rossi and Tony Quinn, your top 10, as the cars continue to make their way around the circuit. Here we are on board with Chaz Mostert, and he's got an Audi that's currently in his way, just in front of him, and will be wanting to try and get past, because I think Chaz is on a lap at the moment as he tries to look up the inside there in the 222 Mercedes. This car will be very, very competitive in the hands of the 3 drivers that currently run this car. But yeah, Scott Taylor Motorsport. And yes, Scott Taylor himself drives this car this weekend. So you wouldn't want to damage the car that you own. You own this car. You damage this car, you're in trouble. You are in trouble indeed. If you damage this car, then you've got a bit of money to spend. As Chaz Mostert there just backs off. Of course, this is the first round of the Intercontinental GT Challenge as well. So these drivers will be fighting for points in that championship here. Of course, this is the first part of free practice. I hope we're all enjoying our morning, our evening, our afternoon. For me, it is the afternoon, so this is actually the only real racing that happens in my time zone. So I'm very happy with this. I'm indeed very happy with what's happening here this weekend and what is to come throughout the next 3 days as well. So plenty of coverage still to come here. I'm going to leave you with the world feed for the next 6 minutes or so. Also, good afternoon, Adam. Good evening. Good night. We've got Brenton Grove in car 100 in the Mercedes going faster than anyone through the first sector. Brenton Grove in that number 100 Mercedes. He's just gone purple through the first sector. So now, I don't think I've explained to you the timing as well. So how these cars make their lap time is from around the circuit. So around the circuit, you'll have 3 sector times. And those 3 sector lines turn into splits. So, for example, I think the first split around the mountain is about 24.5 seconds to get from the starting line to a certain point on the track. And that will take you 24 seconds. And what the timing does is it's smart and it adds that up. And then, boom, it turns into a lap time. So, that's sort of how lap times work. Don't know if you knew that. But if you didn't, you do know now. So Brenton Grove, he's gone purple for the first 2 sectors, meaning that's the fastest split time that anyone's done so far. So purple through first and second sector. That is Brenton Grove, and I think he might go to the top whilst we're talking about it as he makes his run through now the final corner and putting the power down up the curb and on the other side. Brenton Grove, does he go to the top? 3 purple sectors. Our timing screen is not updated for some strange old reason. But he's done a 4.3 according to our timing screens. Surely that would have put him to the top. Valentino Rossi, though, is P10. And he's, at the moment, purple through the first sector with 5 minutes to go. I didn't know about that. I didn't know that about the timing. Thanks. All good, man. All good. But, yeah, I'm here to teach you. Here's a replay of the Penrite Mercedes getting... Well, that is certainly not the closest these cars will get to that barrier on the outside. As the cars make their run through the dipper. Box Skyline. As you make your run through Skyline. You watch... If you watch on throughout the weekend, you'll see how close these cars get to these barriers. It is insane how close they get. There's been a few years where... this is actually the first time that I've streamed the Bathurst 12-hour in this channel's history. I think I streamed it last year, but it was only practice and qualifying that I streamed. Didn't stream the 12-hour. Don't know why. Should have, and I didn't. So, that's me for you. Brenton Grove, though, he's going fastest once more in the 100 Mercedes. Purple through the first sector, and that is a... I don't even know what the heck that is. That is a full... Wow. Okay. What was that? What a place. What a place. What a place to live. Right next to 32 GT3 cars going around this mountain. That is a perfect place to live. It would absolutely cost millions of dollars to rent even. But, yeah, it'd cost a lot. Let me tell you that much. It would very much cost you a lot. Purple through first and second sector again from Brenton Grove. So he's going quite quick here in the back end of free practice 1. Of course, it is only practice 1. So you only get... This is only practice. Free practice 1. The track is not... the track will continue to evolve as the weekend goes on. And we'll see the true pace of some of these cars. Expect the 46 BMW to be up there. Expect the Porsches, the Audis, all to be up there. Especially... what we're going to be focusing on is the Camaro and the Ford Mustang. Does that car have pace? Of course, we have seen it in Mustang Challenge over in America. We have seen Mustang Challenge over in America. We've seen Camaro Challenge as well, I think, in Europe, where that category runs. This is one of our GT4 class cars. This is car number 32. Currently running first place in class at the moment, as we speak. Running first in class. And we'll be hoping to stay that way as the weekend goes on. Yeah, the car's now making their run back to the line. 2.5 minutes to go left here in this session, as we've got a bit of traffic for the 46 BMW, and I think that is one of the 51 Ferraris. Is that the 183 Ferrari? Just getting in the way of the GT4 class car. This car's sitting in P16. That is the 26 Ferrari, should I say. It's just past the 32 GT4 car. As we look at Valentino Rossi. Brenton Grove is going faster than anyone else again. So he's at the top of the session at the moment, and he's going faster than anyone through the first sector, but I think he might have traffic as he makes his run to the top of the mountain. This is not going to be good. You know, I also saw the 222 car of Chaz Mostert, who was up there as well. His personal best through the first sector. We've just seen who's that just cut off there. That is one of the Pro-Am class cars. That would be the 44. That's Jack LeBrock that just cut the top of the mountain down there. Brenton Grove, he's going faster than anyone again. And we see the Triple Eight Mercedes getting in the way of one of the Audis. But yeah, that would be the 44 Mercedes that would have cut the top of the mountain down there. Quite unfortunately. But yeah, how these sessions will work is we'll have practice one right now. Of course, this was streamed a couple hours ago here in Australia. Streamed in the 8 hours ago. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish this first free practice session. I'm going to take about a 2 or 3 minute break. Then we'll be back for free practice 2. That is another 40-minute session. Then it's another 2 or 3 minute break. And then we come back and we do free practice 3. And that will end off the first stream of the day. Then tonight from 8 o'clock, that is about 4 a.m. for you, Adam. So, Lord, if you stay up to that time, you're absolutely insane. But yeah, 8 o'clock tonight will be the final practice session of the weekend. Let's head down to Shea, Adam.
Vandal in it. When Charles Verts got out of the car, he slapped his back like you just won the race. It's 2 consecutive sessions led for the 32, but about 12 months apart. How good is it to keep the car at the top of the charts?
It always feels good. I wouldn't say it feels like winning the race just yet, but it's always a nice confirmation for the boys that built up the car over winter to make sure that everything's running nicely, and obviously the confirmation of being in the mix is a great confirmation for us, but still a long way to go, as you know, this weekend. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
How did the car feel?
My
when you got
energy.
behind the wheel for the first time since becoming a Bathurst winner here?
Any race car feels great here at Bathurst, but particularly the BMW M4. I think, yeah, it's a privilege to drive, as I say, every year, and so I enjoyed every lap. But yeah, now we're going to go into the thicker things and try and focus on the race. And I guess everyone's kind of on the same schedule. It's very limited on tyres, which is a very critical element here in this weekend. So I think everyone will be on their race planning for Sunday.
Well, limited on tires, limited on practice time today. Only 80 minutes total for you guys. Is it a disadvantage that there's no bronze driver in the car, whereas some of your competition gets more track time?
I wouldn't say so. I think a lot of the drivers that come here, we know the cars. It's we even know the track by now. So yeah, it's just getting that groove and just getting the courage again to go across the top of the mountain. But that's dialed in within a couple of laps, and yeah, just enjoying the experience, right?
How were the emotions when you came into the track for the first time here, saw the podium, and remembered celebrating with your brother?
It's always special, but particularly from last year coming as defending champions, it's a privilege, like I say. But yeah, we want to make the most of it. We don't want to say, okay, we won it once and now it's time to let the others have a turn. We want to make their lives difficult and try and defend the title.
No Sheldon here, but you got your brother from another mother. What's it like sharing a car with Jordan Pepper?
It's great because we have a very special connection. Throughout the years we shared an apartment, so you can imagine there's a very special connection that you have as teammates already, and yeah, I think it's just nice because we're very open with each other. There's no secrets in such a sense, so I'm going to try and get him up to speed in the BMW here and see how he cracks on.
Good luck this weekend.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Still have that third BMW P1, John. It just likes being there.
Yeah,
Oh, it certainly will. Thank you, Shea Adam. They're having a chat to the 32 BMW driver of Charles Verts. Of course, that team, the defending champions here at the mountain, they'll be hoping to try and do back-to-back. No driver has gone back-to-back at the Bathurst 12-hour, and they're hoping to try and aim for that. But that car, the 32 BMW, they top free practice 1. We're a couple of minutes away now from free practice 2 to get underway. I'm going to take a couple of minute break and go to the bathroom, grab another bottle of water, even though I've got a whole nother bottle of water here. Going to fill up these 2 bottles of water that I've absolutely smashed because I'm dehydrated for some reason. I'm going to go fill those up, and yeah, we'll be back for free practice 2 in just a few moments' time. That should be fun. I'm going to be back in a few moments. We're going to take it down to the world feed.
He's very specific to the northeast of England. It reminds me when we launched the Newcastle Metro way back, the light rail system. The seats were that kind of multi-colour for a while. Quite a lot of public transport.
Yes, that's exactly. I think that we had one like that in WA.
Okay, so I'm going to set up free practice 2. I'm going to take a couple minutes to do this, and I'll be back in probably 2 minutes. Okay, we're back for the mountain for free practice 2. I didn't even get time to fill up my water bottles, so that's a bit depressing. But, yeah, I suppose we'll see what happens here in the second part of free practice. This should be fun. I'm going to head up to the world feed. I've got a couple of things left to do. Yeah, it's now time for the Maguires Bathurst 12 Hour. It's time for free practice 2.
It all happens quickly on Friday at the Maguires Bathurst 12 Hour. Welcome back to our live coverage from the mountain as we get set for practice number 2. Another 40-minute hit out, this one for the bronze drivers only in GT3 cars. The invitational class cars and GT4 can also run in this session. Richard Crale, Garth Tander, John Hindhoff with you, and Shay Adam will be in the pit lane for us over the next 40 minutes as we continue our journey, our build over Friday. And I love the way this event, gentlemen, gathers momentum across the day, and it builds and builds, and then we're getting to practice sessions
I'll be back in 5 minutes. So enjoy the world feed, and don't fall asleep, Adam.
Split for qualifying 1 and qualifying 2, and then we build our way up to the Pirelli pole battle on Saturday afternoon, and then of course the race start on Sunday morning. So this is an important session, Garth, for the bronze drivers to get some laps, get some miles, and get comfortable at Mount Panorama ahead of a long weekend where these guys are often under a fair amount of pressure.
Yeah, I would say the vast majority of these drivers, this will be their first lap they've done of the weekend as they roll out for the first of 2 bronze sessions. Mount Panorama needs no introduction. 6.214 kilometres of the best stretch of tarmac you'll find anywhere in the world.
How many laps you done round here?
Oh, I don't know, but it'd be in the thousands now. What was it, 27 1,000s, a couple of 12 hours and a couple of 24 hours. So yeah, a lap or 2 around here, but it is a magnificent bit of racetrack, and all of our international visitors that come here every year to this race will put this racetrack in their top 5.
Yeah, and speak to Jugun on about this place, and he gives it a more ringing endorsement than any international I have ever talked to, and his opinion matters more than many of them because he is one of the best in the world. For timing purposes, we will refer to those 3 sectors. The first one up to the run up the hill to Reed Park. The second sector is 30 seconds on a push lap across the top. It's all the unbelievable commitment stuff right where we're looking at now across the Walter J. McPhillamy Park and then on to Rock Skyline and then a dive down the hill towards the elbow. The final sector, it's all flat out, but with 2 of the most important braking points on the circuit as well at the end of the chase and then into the final corner. So that's the circuit, that's the scene, 40 minutes on the clock. A little bit of housekeeping.
Admiring the Mona Lisa? Good. Having the Mona Lisa to yourself? Great. Sharing a Kinder Bueno with her? That's bueno. Smooth milk chocolate, crispy wafer, creamy hazelnut filling. Elevate every moment with Kinder Bueno.
And had a chat to the Volante Rosso crew, Garth and John, after practice 1, and the only one of the 35 cars that are entered this weekend to not complete a lap was their McLaren 720S GT3. They had gearbox issues, said they ran the car up last night on the stands. They often get the car up to get gearbox temperature up and make sure everything's working. They'll go through the gears, the rear wheel spinning. Last night, absolutely fine. This morning, no bueno, no gears. So they've been working on that. They feel like it's fixed. Now, that car cannot run in this session. They've got silver class drivers. They're confident that they'll be out for practice number 3 a little bit later on this afternoon. And then they're going to hope to try and get some dispensation for their younger drivers to get some laps in the 4th practice session this afternoon, which is a bronze driver, and then miss that first session. That'll be up to race control to manage that. So hopefully we see the McLaren back out there this afternoon. The last thing you want when you roll into a big enduro at this place, Garth Tander, is to be on the sidelines in that first practice session.
Well, there's so little opportunity for practice laps this weekend. We talk about for the Pro and the Pro-Am cars only getting 80 minutes today and then a couple of 1 hours tomorrow. Then that's it. You're in a qualifying, go racing. So when you've got a new car to the country and new car to the team at Volante Rosso, the McLaren 720, you need as many miles as you can get, and they sit the car down at Queensland Raceway, and that's it. And Queensland Raceway and Mount Panorama are not the same in the fact that, yes, they're racetracks and they start and they finish, but other than that, you learn nothing at Queensland Raceway that's relevant for Bathurst. So, yeah, they needed those 40 minutes. Yeah, that's about it. That's it. So, understanding the car and what it needs, missing those 40 minutes, and for the drivers, you know, they've got a driver that's never been here before, a driver that's never driven a GT3 car before, and so any miles is gold. So to miss out on that's real issue.
So they've got some work to do and working on their car, and we'll bring you up to speed with their story as the day was GMR, the Asian team flagged out of Hong Kong that's been here for so many years and a challenge for race victories. They had a really challenging opening practice session as well with their Mercedes AMG. We saw them coming back into the lane with a puncture on one of the drivers. So that is for the pro session. A little bit later on, practice 3 is for all drivers. Practice 4 is another bronze session at the end of the day as we continue and work through and learn some of the new names and the new faces that are taking part at Mount Panorama this weekend. And one of those is a couple of Porsches. So 5 Porsches here this weekend, which is exciting, and it's great to have high-class racing here for the first time. Danish flag team, they've got Anders Fjordbach and Keron Lee behind the wheel of this car, with their pro being Dorian Boccolacci, who is super fast, and it's going to be very exciting to watch. To bring us up to speed as we jump down into the Elf Oil pit lane, with Shay Adam.
And guys, you were talking about the advantage of having a bronze driver in this category, so I found one of the pro class cars that is out and running. Shukanon, you know how to win this race before. Kenny knows how to win this race. But what kind of an advantage is it today when you guys get literally double the track time of the other pro runners?
Double the track time. We get a bit more, that's clear. So it's good for Kenny, but it's also difficult because Kenny is carrying on our tires right now. So next session we're gonna have 25 laps plus on our tire compared to the other car. So it's always a trade versus track time to the running, but yeah, I love to be there with Kenny. Honestly, he's very impressive around the mountain. You need a big heart. He has a very big heart, and he's very good across the top and so on. So first lap for him, he's on live TV. Car looks good. Car felt good. So yeah, we get the groove in and see.
It's a new car as well. Princess, I believe, is what her name is for this one. How did it feel compared to the ones that you've driven and won here in the past?
So the Princess one was actually the first one in 2022. That was a very special car because normally Mercedes AMG comes always with a roll cage that's grey. And for that race and for Kenny, they made an orange roll cage, which actually was cool. But in the morning hours, it was very hard to drive because the car was super reflective, the roll cage inside the car. And that car did new before Bathurst race back to the Museum of Kenny. So that was the Princess one. But this one already did the Indianapolis, I think. Still very, very new. Car felt really good this morning. That's the strength of IMG. Also, you go, I drive so many different cars, but you go in Australia, in France, in UK, and they all feel kind of the same, just different setup. But that's the German rigor, how do you say, their system is always very robust, and you always get the same feeling in the car, so that's very good.
You were driving against Kenny and against 75 Express at Daytona. How good is it to come home and be under the family banner again?
Yeah, it's very good. I was a bit sad to not be with Kenny, but it's the way with Mercedes. Sometimes you have to rotate between teams. So I wish him all the best. And of course, it's of course you want to win yourself. But when we retired, I was cheering for him, and they fell short by 2 seconds, which is quite frustrating. In 2017, I fell short by 2 tenths with Christopher Mies at that time in GTD, and I remember the feeling standing in the podium and you see the 4 Rolex Daytona passing in front of you. You fight it for 24 hours, and there is just not for yourself. So Daytona is the race where in Bathurst you finish P2, you're happy, let's say, but in Daytona it's all for the win. So yeah.
Well, with 5 podiums here in your last 5 attempts, how badly do you want that other win? And how much do you
maybe
think
at the end of this session,
Kenny
I'm not
that
sure.
he didn't get the Rolex about a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every time I come to this race, I have
maybe halfway through. I'm not sure. Either end or halfway through.
Because it's the truth. You arrived here this morning, first lap. I was lucky enough to arrive first in the mountain because I don't know, some cars were quite slow at the beginning, so I took the chance to enter first in the mountain, saying hi.
Go away, Disney Solitaire.
And it's just, I just love this place. I rewatched the race we won. I see the emotion we've got. I still remember, and I had 2 very difficult years until now. A lot of bad luck, except in Bathurst actually, where I got my only podium nearly last year. So I really hope we can do something well. But once again, the mountain chose this year, so I hope she chooses us again.
We do too. Good luck, Sean.
Thank you. Good to you.
Shay Adam with 3-time Maguire's Bathurst 12-hour winner, Shulgin On, who is one of the best there's ever been at this place. A bit to unpick from that chat, actually. The first and foremost is I love that Kenny names his cars, for starters, and that Princess has been retired. And that was the car. They damaged a chassis, so they had to lift that car out of the 6th floor where his museum is in Connecticut, lifted it down, shipping containered it up and sent it down under to race, and then it won, and then it got a podium the year after and a podium again last year. So he's elected to retire that car as well as the one that won in 2022 and has gone to the basically new chassis that Jules was correct, it raced the Indianapolis 8-hour Intercontinental GT Challenge round late last year. That's the only running it's done, and then it was sent to Australia for this race.
Some good drivers out there, but Kenny should be among the top runners here. He is one of the best bronze drivers in the world. Yes, that car is a pro car, but Kenny is a bronze, and therefore that's why that car is allowed out. It is only the bronze rated drivers that are allowed out in the sessions 2 and then the final session 4 this afternoon.
Kenny Bull was second in the corresponding session last year, so to your point, John, certainly one of the fastest bronze drivers anywhere in the world. Daytona, he's super strong there, he's very fast at Indianapolis. He's actually got to be a little bit careful, I think, sometimes, Kenny, that he could lose his bronze status.
Correct.
He keeps winning races, they will take it off you and elevate you to silver, and therefore you can't do these extra sessions.
I think because of when he started racing, in terms of an FIA rating, at least, he started racing, and not actually Stefan Ventel from AMG Customer Racing. He calls arm drivers late starting professionals, which is a phrase that I've often repeated because I like it so much better than gentleman drivers or non-pros or whatever. Late starting professionals, but I think because of when Kenny first started racing, that he can, unless he becomes a works paid driver, he can only ever be a bronze.
It's lucky, actually. Kenny Hall started racing twice, actually, when he was young. He did the same year in Formula Ford that I did back in 1997. so Kenny was in the Formula Ford Championship. At that stage, the motorsport thing wasn't for him. He went off, became very successful in business, and now he gets to come back and enjoy himself, and it's great to see.
I'm sure that dates more. He did race, he raced Formula 3 actually for
Yes,
the time
he did.
as well. And distinctly remember a fairly spectacular moment at Oran Park in a bright red car run by Piccola Scuderia that ended up launching through the air in the infield at that joint too.
Because Garth was very, very young.
Garth was extremely
Still in short
Let's
trousers.
go with that.
And he rocked up at the circuit a couple of days ago, flew into Bathurst International Airport, as it is this week, and he drove down into the paddock yesterday in a new toy that he's acquired that has horsepower in the thousands. I believe it's a Dodge Charger.
It is a Dodge Charger.
It is a beautiful custom hot rod car. You'd see it at the Summit Absolute. It is a beautiful piece of kit that he's just acquired.
3 water bottles, done.
It sounds
3.
like a top door slammer drag car
Jeez.
idling down the big supercharger.
Oh, I think I heard that thing driving down the paddock. I thought it was one of the drift cars.
No, that's
Is
Kenny.
Kenny going to his house?
Yeah, well, he's been good enough to put it in the paddock on display this weekend for the
That's cool.
fans here at Mount Panorama, which is awesome. Maxine
Can't say I'm not
Wilson, the Dutchman,
dehydrated.
22 years of age, making his debut here at Mount Panorama, and he's a bronze driver in that he is inexperienced, but he will go up the ranks very quickly, you feel, because he's a young man who's already gained a lot of experience in GT World Challenge competition across Asia, across Europe, and in sprint and enduro racing, and has already won his class at the Nürburgring 24-hour as well, and was the silver AM class driver, Maxime, last year too in GT World Challenge Asia. So he's with Team KRC, which is the brand new squad with the BMW, the third of the M4 GT3s here this weekend. So Maxime's going to be quite quick, at 205.3 already. Eduardo Barrichello, famous surname, is second in the number 27 Heart of Racing Mercedes AMG.
Okay, you know what? I do drink water. It's just for some reason I'm trying to hydrate so that when I commentate, I don't destroy my voice.
When it comes to Bathurst locals, it gets a little more local than he, because he lives just at the end of Pitt Straight. You can see his pit garage from the living room and the swimming pool. And he is the reigning GT World Challenge Australia champion. Wrapped up the title in an incredibly dramatic showdown at Hampton Downs in New Zealand late last year, with Brock Feeney sharing the driving duties. That's the car. Gemet Racing Team MPC. The runners a pro entry this weekend. Brad's been a Pro-Am winner here. He's won all of the classes, Trophy, Am and Pro-Am in GT World Challenge Australia. The Bathurst 12 Hour is the big box for him to tick. This is a massive life goal for him, just to run in the pro class, let alone have a crack at winning. And with 2024 Echo Supercars champion Will Brown and awesome former factory Audi ace Chris Haase alongside him, with the might of Team NPC behind them, they are in a good position. So Brad,
Oh, go away! Why? Ads, like, come on. Thank you.
has a big job to do this weekend, but it's an exciting story and a reward for a guy who's tipped a whole lot into this sport and to making himself a better driver to compete with these pros.
It was almost the battle of the locals going on there, because just in front of Brett Schumacher in the Audi was Grant Denyer and that Lamborghini of Adrian Dietz, and Grant, Bathurst local as well. So those guys have done a few laps around here, probably not as many as they have, well, more on foot than probably in the race car as they start their motorsport. Well, Grant not full time, but living here, I know Grant runs around here a lot, does a lot of laps on foot.
What, is somebody chasing him?
Yeah, I'm not
That's
sure.
the only racer that I'd be running around here. Damn, mate, that's a big kick.
I'll be back in a minute.
I love the fact that Lamborghini are about to launch the Temerario, and we'll see that at Sebring in IMSA competition in the middle of March. And here is that venerable Lamborghini in that classic red and white livery, still coming to Bathurst, so it's still having a go. And going crazy for 3 class wins on the backs.
Yeah, which would be a great story. And the Art of Racing by SBS team looking to defend their class victory in the bronze class last year as well. Now, it's actually just been flagged to me that Eduardo Garofillo, who is in second position at the moment, is actually a silver rank driver. However, there are dispensations given at this place for drivers that have never been here before to gain more experience. If they're silver rank, they can run in the bronze section to get them laps. It's all about building up that experience and quality of the field, which will ultimately, hopefully, pay off on Sunday with a cleaner race as more drivers get more laps and more experience at this very demanding racetrack.
See some of your comments coming in at RSL_studio. Don't forget, use the hashtag B12HR. Drive the conversation, and as well as being a part of it. Thank you. Clearly some people just after midnight in the UK, just after 1 o'clock in the morning in Europe, who are joining us. East coast of the US tuning in as well, making this as ever a truly international race. So head down to Shay Adam, who's in the Alfoil pit lane.
Doing a little bit of snooping right now, because I heard you guys talking about cars that had some issues in the first practice session, including the 888 machine. That's the GMR Mercedes. There's no work going on this car right now. I just walked by their garage, and it is very casual. There are actually other teams in the pit lane that are more worried about what's happening in their garages, including some of the Porsches, but in the Mercedes land, it seems like everything that was troubling them for that first practice session has been cleared, and they're ready to go after lunch.
Thank you, Shane. Appreciate that. Thank you before mid lane. It's getting to the bottom of what was going on with GMR, one of our expected pro contenders. So they've now got a bit of time to 2 o'clock local time this afternoon to turn that car around for the next all-in practice session. We're halfway through just about this second practice session at the Maguire's Bathurst 12-hour. Bronze drivers are on the racetrack now. We're looking at a couple of Mercedes AMGs and working their way past the Team New Zealand's Aston Martin Vantage GT4. That car being run by Bamba Motorsport. A little double operation for EBM because the Aston's based at pit entry and the Porsche's a long way down towards pit exit end of pit lane. So their operations are split. Ben Jenkins, who runs the Aussie arm of Bamba Motorsport, is overseeing the Aston Martin side, and then they've got a lot of their Asian team working on the Porsche. So some logistical challenges that come with the nature of this race.
That'd be a mission, wouldn't it?
Yes, get your steps up this weekend.
No problems getting your steps up day each day.
Here's Kenny, currently fourth at Troy 6-6 and set that on his previous lap. Tony Ruan, John, sorry, went quickest last time by.
Just got past his front door there, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah, a little bit further up. He's actually expanded up there a little bit of late.
Has he?
A little bit more brown, perhaps, for Kenny up there.
He was in great form in the track to town. Told me his favourite pie shop in town as well.
You're on a bit of a global campaign for pies.
Pie hunting, I am pie hunting. I have embraced the Antipodean tradition of good pies. Started in New Zealand. I'm working my way through this area of the world as well now.
You a tomato sauce man on your pie?
If it's a plain mince, then yes.
Oh.
If it's more fancy,
It's a bit boutiquey.
if it's a bit more bougie, as Bruce Railsey would say it, then I like to actually taste the flavour.
5 more minutes, Adam.
It's a tough call. I do like sometimes a bit of brown sauce on a pie, but it's pie.
If you know.
It's very pie dependent.
Brown sauce on pie,
sure I can get around that.
No.
Really?
No.
It was all going well until you brought that up, John. Brown sauce.
Brown sauce with mince, you see? That's, you know, bit of Worcestershire we've been told. Little
That's
drop,
getting worse.
That came from the truck, eh?
mince on toast with a bit of Worcestershire sauce on the top.
Not sure about some of the feedback we're getting about that.
Cheese on toast as well, same thing. Does cheese have a place in a pie though? There's the question.
Well, the Kiwis will make it very stout.
They're very strong.
Smoked cheese.
Yeah. Let's talk about some car racing. It's great to have JMR here, 2-car team, and with them come the Chevrolet Corvette Z06 GT3R for the first time to Mount Panorama. And Prince Jeffrey and Prince Abu Ibrahim will be behind the wheel, sharing this car with a couple of fast pros. This is a brand new chassis this weekend. It is a brand new Corvette that was flown specifically out for this race. So this is as much a shakedown as it is a practice session for JMR. Their pro car was very solid early on. A bit of a learning exercise for them today to get up to speed. They have been a very busy race team of late, competing in the Asian Le Mans Series, which only wrapped up last week in
They were in Abu Dhabi last weekend.
They were. So the frequent flyers have been well looked after. A lot of Aussie input in this team. It flagged from Johor, which is, if you're unfamiliar with the geography, it's basically the province right at the bottom end of Malaysia, just before the strait that crosses you across to Singapore. Beautiful part of the world. So they've got operations in all corners of the globe at the moment. But a lot of Aussie impact in the Bathurst 12-hour campaign this year, and a lot of ex-888 guys are also behind the scene there, actually.
It is slightly throwing me out that I'm looking at Corvettes that aren't bright yellow.
I can understand that.
Green and blue as well. We've got with DXDT in IMSA Racing, and Tom Furrier just released their new season.
Aldi's Aussie boneless pork shoulder is fantastically flavourful, so there's really no reason it should have a chip on its shoulder. Now just $7.99 per kilo. Aussie pork at Aldi prices. Aldi, good different.
TF colour scheme for their cars, but I do have to do a slight double take. But I think it suits. I think that livery suits the car very well, and well, mid-engine cars go all right around here, Garth, and that's got plenty of grunt on it as well.
Yep. And there's a lot of people thinking that the Corvette is very much a tool that can get the job done here at Panorama because of its mid-engine configuration and its straight line performance. So as long as you get the thing pointed in a straight line, leaving Forest Elbow and leaving turn 1, heading up Mountain Straight, it's hard to pass across the top of the mountain. So you've only got to be there or thereabouts across the top and get the thing pointed and going in a straight line nicely. So a lot of people feeling like the Corvette could be strong. But given that car's never been here before, very much, you mentioned, I think, earlier, Crowley, very much a data gathering exercise today, and I have no doubt that the data will go back to the GM Technical Centre in Charlotte, North Carolina overnight, and they'll be crunching the numbers, and the cars will come back a lot sharper tomorrow.
Well, the other element as well to these cars in the bronze class is that they've all got, for the most part, a pro driver in their ranks. So a driver that can compete with anybody in this grid at some point. And in that 99 car, for example, I would offer up Jordan Love as an example of that, as someone who could be quick enough if it comes to that Bathurst arm wrestle at the end. So sometimes the key for these cars is stay in the lead lap, circulate around, and then your class does not matter in the final hour of the race when you put your pro driver in. So if you can cling on, if you can stay there, if you play your safety cars right in this race, at the end of it, class doesn't matter, because the classes in this race are not based on car performance, they are based on the driver's experience behind the wheel and their level of experience. So when you put your pro driver in, the car doesn't know whether it's bronze or pro-am or pro.
And for those of you in the States who are used to IMSA racing, the classes aren't split here as you would have in GTD and GTD Pro in the States. So if we do get a neutralisation of the race, a safety car, we're not going to put all the pro cars at the front. They will line up behind the safety car for the restart, exactly how the race was neutralised. So the GT3 category looks like a whole single category. The classes within it are sub-classes. So to Krillsy's point, any kind of neutralisation in the last couple of hours, Garth, and you've got your gun driver in it, then you run for overall at that point.
Yeah, any of these cars that play high-speed chess and poker nicely over the course of the first 11 hours and get it right can absolutely be in the game for that last hour with their pro aboard. So we also have the wave buy in this race as well for the lapped car. So even if you lose laps early, to your point, Rich, you play the safety car game correctly, you can strategise your way back onto the lead lap late in the race, then you're a chance. You're an absolute chance. And so a lot of these teams will be thinking that way. It's not, oh yeah, class win would be nice. No. Let's get it. Let's stick this thing on the podium.
Yeah, let's have a go outright. Why not? And you can do that. It is harder this year, I would argue, than it's been since 2020, given the depth of the pro field, where all three drivers, for the most part, are factory-backed, works, fast, professional racing car drivers. But it is still possible, and that is very exciting. We're watching the BMW M4 GT3 of Team KRC, and this is a brand new entry to the race. Very distinctive livery, love it, dark green with the fluoro outfits, but as quite a few of our Asian friends do when they come and visit this place over the journey, they bring with them some flair. And I like that for KRC. And if you have a look on the side of that BMW, you see a crocodile. That's Marcus. That's their mascot. But what I love about their mascot here is that they've dressed him up. And one of them's got a koala, and one of them, there's the koala, see? So the crocodile is wearing a koala, which sounds like something that could happen in Crocodile Dundee or something like that. But I love that they've gotten this Aussie little approach, but they've brought their mascot with them. Fan favourite. We always see it with teams like that come down here and play at this race.
Adam, down in the pit lane, where are you?
I am in the Quinn garage, and I have just witnessed one Quinn get out of an Audi and another one take over. Tony, how special is it when you get to get out of a beautiful Audi, have it just done laps around the mountain, and hand over to family?
Well, it's quite unique, and I believe that this is the first time this has ever been done. Maybe that's for a good reason, don't know. But look, the car was good, the car was quite comfortable, each lap a bit better and better. So look, it's a long weekend, and I'm not here to bring home any cup or win any competition. We're here to have some fun and make a mark on the Quinn family legacy. That's what we're doing.
Is there any realistic goal for the weekend, though? Do you want to be within a certain lap time of rider, let's say?
This year, I'm going to learn French. Every January, I swear I'm gonna finally learn French, and then every year I end up dropping it all over again. This year, I stopped trying to do it alone and downloaded Preply. Preply makes it easy with personalized one-to-one lessons that guide you, keep you accountable, and actually make learning fun. So if the new year, new me is still the plan, you can start with something that won't fall apart by February. Join Preply today.
I just had the craziest trip to Lego City.
Now departing for Lego City Airport. Welcome to Lego City Airport.
I was hyped to explore, and my driver delivered.
Delivery.
First stop, this fancy restaurant. The food was fire, but then out of nowhere, my fries! I needed a ride to catch up, and this truck had the sauce. That's right! Only in Lego City! Your city, no limit!
New Lego City sets out now. Each set sold separately.
No. Because Ryder is what we call the rooster. He's away, he's gone. And his dad, Clark, he's reviving his old career, and he's doing well as well. But me and Ken, we are definitely amateur drivers. I mean, I should be in an old folks home, and Ken started late. So no, we've got no internal competition. We just want to finish. We all want to finish, and we've got a great team here. We've got 40 odd people here that are supporting us, and we're not even paying for them. You know what I mean? Like normally you have to pay for people to come and support you, but no, they're very, very good. So we're all. I think I can talk on behalf of all of them. Everybody's happy.
It's been a minute since you've been in this great race. It's obviously been on your mind for a while to come back. What does it mean to you to get the opportunity to do it in such a powerful way?
Yeah, as I say to people, I didn't go to school for long enough to learn the words that describe it. Right? I can't really describe it. I don't have the vocabulary to do that. But you're right, we used to do this event every year, but the last 2 times we did it, we were taken out by guys that were laps down. So it was like, we just got fed up with it. And we all went off in our own different ways. And it's only last year that we decided that, you know, I explained that it was one of the bucket list items that are left. There's not many left. And the guys all said, well, let's do it. Let's see if we can do it. So, yeah, I think they did say, as long as you pay for it.
Yeah.
They did, yeah, that's right. No, it was all very, very good. And it's all come together so well. So much so that even my ex-wife was coming down today to be with us.
Truly it's a family affair that a lot of people turned for you. A lot of purple hats being worn in this garage. Good luck to you all this week.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, he's a character. That's a Tony Quinn interview if I've ever heard one.
Well done, Shay Adam, to get out of that interview at that point.
Yeah, it's nice use of handbrake there, I thought, just to keep it out of the wall.
It's such a great, genuinely such a great story though, and there's been quite a bit of water under the bridge to put all of this together and to link up with MPC, who's going to run the car for them, who's running the car for them this weekend. He said very early on, I don't want any brand on the car, I just want a gigantic Q on the side and paint it purple so everyone can see where we are, so no one hits us during the race. That was their prime motivation for this. We just want to stay out of the way and try and get the car to the finish, which is great. And then maybe when Ryder's behind the wheel, we might see a little lap time from this car because he is a fast young pro with success here in GT4 racing and in Porsche Pro Cup. And actually, young Ryder got a nod from BMW to be part of their global junior driver program as well, which is awesome. So it's such a cool story. So if you're not familiar with it, Tony's the granddad. His 2 sons, Clark and Kent, of his 4 children, are here and driving, and then Ryder is his grandson, is Clark's son. Yeah. So 3 generations of Quinns behind the wheel, and that has never happened before in all of the history of everything that's gone on at Mount Panorama. It's just remarkable.
I don't think it's happened in GT3 competition before. I've quoted this before, and I remember seeing Hatched up with 2 of his boys, Lamborghini, at the Nürburgring. That would have been the 24-hour race at the Nürburgring. 2 generations. I cannot imagine even another family, Garth, where they could go that deep into. Have the Andretti's done it? Maybe.
Actually, Marco,
yeah,
maybe. The little chap. But I mean, you got to.
I was racking my brain yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tony would appreciate the link to the Andretti's. Yes. Well, another racing dynasty.
Yeah.
Now, add some postcard, please, to @RSL_studio.
Hashtag B12HR, and visual confirmation of who was in the car, because that was a shot of Clark Quinn. So 1K Quinn in pit lane, is Kent behind the wheel. the number 101 Audi R8. From one Audi to another, we pick up the Hallmark Property Group car that's owned by Mark Sini, the most experienced one-month Porsche racer in this part of the world, and last year tipped over 400 Porsche Carrera Cup races.
Find low fares with flight price alerts on the Trip.com app. Get your tickets now.
First driver on the planet to do that, which was a huge thing. Verified by Porsche, remember that? Yeah. Which was an incredible accomplishment. And this is like an annual golf weekend away for Mark, for Dean Fiore, and for Lee Holdsworth. And that's Dean taking a photo of himself.
Yes, of himself, just not the timing screen.
It's not a surprise. And Lee Holdsworth, Mathis winner, alongside him, and again run by the team at MPC. So this is an enjoyable weekend for those guys, and they're cheering their boy Mark on. He's 14th at the moment at a 209.55.
Audi an ever-present in the most recent era of the 12 hours, the Maguire's Bathurst 12 hours. One of the first, I think actually not the first major OEM to commit to this race back in the James O'Brien days, and they have been here, Krillsy, ever since. Great support for this event. Sent the trucks down and everything like that. They were one of the first people to have support in the paddock. I remember the big trailers coming in, the sort of road trailers that you have down here and sitting at the top of the paddock.
I would make an argument that this race wouldn't be where it is today without Audi's early involvement.
Surely.
When it went to GT3, it was a bold decision because we went from having 60 production cars on the grid to a 25-car field with 5 or 6 GT3 cars, but without Audi coming in with all their factory might and introduced Christopher Meese to Australia. He became a little superstar here as a result of that. This would be a very, very different race if the storyline hadn't have unfolded in that way. Mark is now one of the most experienced guys in this race as well. He and David Russell share the same number of starts, and somewhere in the vicinity of 30,000 kilometres of racing laps completed in Bathurst 12-hour trim over their journey here at Mount Panorama in the 12-hour. But I love that those guys keep coming out and playing each year, and they get together and they finished 6th in 2022, so they've had some results as well, as we see some traffic playing a role down Conrod Straight with the team at NZ Aston Martin just sticking to the left-hand side and letting the ball fly past down towards the Scuderia Auto Art Chase. It's a cool story, and with Dino and Lee behind the wheel, they'll be a competitive proposition throughout the day as well. We've seen Lee Holdsworth live away, getting into the top 10 on occasion as well.
Well, he was in the top 10 in the Pirelli pole battle last year. He was one of the contenders. So, to your point, we were talking about getting them, one of these cars getting themselves in the game at the end of the race. Well, that's one car that had themselves in the game at the start of the race, because they had the speed to qualify into the start of the Pirelli pole battle on Saturday afternoon. And I think that Lee said it's the fastest lap I've ever done around the mountain, and it might be the fastest lap I ever do around the mountain, because it was a 1.8, and that's seriously, that's hustling. That is hustling.
Few people have gone quicker than that. Pace was so fast last year. The quickest pole time in the history of this race, Lucas Auer. We'll talk about that when we get to the Pirelli pole battle tomorrow afternoon. Brilliant 15 minutes of entertainment that was done on lap 2 of last year's session. Pole position decided very, very early. We're a way away from that yet, though. 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in this one. Brett Hobson's gone quickest in the GWR and Ram Motorsport Mercedes AMG 205.31 for the Sydney-sider, who hasn't been driving GT cars much of late. He's been on the dirt tracks of New South Wales and broader Australia in a 410 sprint car. Cutting laps in a sprint car, Brett Hobson, with quite a bit of success as well, I might add. So it's great to see Brett back, and Garth Walden back behind the wheel as well of car number 45, which is going to be a really good program. And we talk about putting your pro in the car at the end. They've got Dylan O'Keefe as their pro driver, who is the reigning Porsche Carrera Cup champion. So there's the ace in their deck of cards.
Along with this car has a real chance and will be in the conversation. I think the other most used, get this on your bingo card, you're going to be all right. The most used phrase is, if they're in on the lead lap with an hour and a half to go and they put XXX driver in, that is going to be the other phrase of the weekend here, gentlemen, because there are so many across the GT3 classes where that is absolutely key. If they can be there, Garth, it is going to be the archetypal grandstand shootout finish.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll be talking about for the race win, but for a lot of these cars, like a top 5 outright is a genuine massive opportunity.
Totally.
Absolutely realistic that can happen. So yes, we will talk a lot about having your gun in the car for the last hour and a half of the race, but that's the beauty of GT3 racing, is you can do that. You can structure your driving roster in such a way that your bronze driver, your gentleman driver, your late starter to motorsport gets the opportunity to race at an outright race at Mount Panorama in a GT3 race in a stacked field. But then if you strategize it right, you can give yourself a top 5 finish at the end of the day. And that's the beauty of GT3 racing, I think.
And as we've seen at this place, if you're in the top 5 in the final hour, anything is possible. It's great, isn't it? Great to see Friday, traditionally at Supercar Rounds and at the Maguire's Bathurst 12 Hour, is School Kids Day. So they open the event up to all of the local schools in the region. I think more than 400 here today. There's a kids press conference that happens at 1 o'clock this afternoon, which I'm going to stick my head in and see how that plays out, because the Queens are going, plus the team from Scott Taylor Motorsport. Oh, Jazz, Cam and Thomas. Oh, that's cool. So that is going to be hilarious.
The kids are asking, the children are asking the questions. Have we got coverage of that?
No, but we should.
We should make a good point. Can we get somebody in there with a recorder and get that on? Because that is box office.
They're going to learn things, those kids. They're going to get some business advice.
Only 20, they'll learn correctly some life advice.
Correct.
Invitational class, triple one. Coming through the final corner and on to the front straight.
Darren Curry behind the wheel of that car. He's done an 8.9 and is 12th on the leaderboard and quickest of the 2 invitational class cars, the IRC GT.
More please, more of those please.
Yeah, we need half a dozen of them in the race,
Yeah,
and it would be an unbelievable class battle in invitation.
Totally agree.
Good package, designed to go the distance in these races that originally the Gen 1 cars, which were modeled around a Ford Focus, were based and debuted at this race.
Some Mazda as well, wasn't there? There was a Mazda body shape as well, I remember those.
Then they went to the Generation 2 car, which expanded and went to Mustang and Camaro style body shapes, and then it's now become IRC. Danny Stubbard, who owns the business, is behind the wheel with 2 great mates, Darren Curry and Axel Donaldson, who have been driving together for a very long time. A bunch of off-road racing events as well. They've got a Merc AMG GT3 that they run in GT World Challenge Australia, but they wanted to roll out the IRC car for this weekend to have a bit of a go, and drafted Danny in to share the driving.
Sounds fabulous, doesn't it? Across the top. Good morning to you. Still morning here at Bathurst. If you've just got on the accounting site, checkered flag flew about 25 seconds ago to end the second 40-minute session. This is the bronze, and kind of like bronze and rookie drivers here in session. As we mentioned, 1 or 2 of the silver drivers who have been here before, asked for and got dispensation. I think that's smart officiating. I really, really do.
Brad Schumacher's just punched out a very handy 205.35 to go third, and only 0.03 away from Brett Hobson's quickest time of the session so far. So good luck for the Audi. 21 behind the wheel of the number 89 Team KRC BMW M4, splitting them. So that's an impressive lap from a Bathurst first timer to do a 5.3. Ian James in 4th place, defending bronze class winning team. They've mixed up the driver lineup this year at Part of Racing, but you know that they're going to be competitive. And Ian's done a 5.5, which is very competitive. Kenny Haball, P5, sat at the end of their last little stanza of that session, but completed 15 laps. Most laps completed of the session by Brad Schumacher at 16. In the number 55 Audi. So Brad maximising that session, and the beauty for Brad is that he gets another entire session to himself later on this afternoon. So Brad's going to have, if he can do another 15 or 16 laps. He'll have 30, 35 laps under his belt. The pro drivers can split the other two. Let's go down to Elfoyle's pit lane and practice show.
With the fastest cars so far, well, you've got to be pleased with how that session went down for the number 45 Mercedes.
Yeah, we're pretty happy. So the car feels good. Both Brett and myself drove in the bronze session. Brett topped it at the end, and both of us, were there or thereabouts. So it's just about getting comfortable. We might make some changes after this one to the car and try and tune it up a little bit. But so far so good. We're all comfortable, which is good.
You know how to win this race in class. You've done it before. Dylan's done it before as well. How much easier is it when you come into a race weekend and you've got that little bit of extra confidence of having done it before?
Yeah, I don't know about easier, but we sort of know what to do. It definitely doesn't make it easy, but you just gotta, it's all the 1%ers. You gotta hit all your marks and between on the track, off the track, have a good strategy and be consistent. And luckily enough for us, we've got 3 really good drivers who are very consistent and sensible. So yeah, we'll just hit our marks and see where we end up.
Is the goal just the class win, or are you guys thinking about moving up into the top 10, maybe top 5 as the race goes on?
Yeah, class wins first, and if we can sneak in the top 10, it'll be unreal, but there's a lot of good cars and teams and drivers out there, so you never know. Class win, we'll start with that and see where we end up, outright.
Dare to dream. Good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you. Cheers.
I knew that the collective wisdom would not let us down, gents. In August 2020, the Andretti family, Mario, his son Michael, and grandson Marco shared the track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thanks, Joe, for this. Mario drove the Honda 2-seater. Michael was the passenger in the 2-seater Indy car. They led the field before the Indy 500. Marco was in the field. But as far as Joe knows, they never raced together.
Yeah, so they're on track together, but not
on track.
Well, that is two of them shared a car, but they weren't in the race.
Correct. That's a pretty cool
But it was at the Indy 500, so that raises it a little bit.
Doesn't it? Yeah, but it's not competing in the same entry
Okay.
together.
All right, well,
I
there we
know
go.
Marco and Michael have a couple of times. It's certainly in the morning as well.
I would imagine they would have done a Daytona or a Sebring.
Yeah, in a Porsche. There was a very famous run out for an early Porsche that I saw getting rebuilt at Porsche in North America. Right, if you know better, any 3 generations of racing family who have competed together, we think the Quins are unique in that aspect in motor racing, certainly in endurance and GT3 racing. If you know better, then you know where to send your notes.
Hashtag B12H at Bathurst 12 Hour on all of the socials. Get on board. The digital team is waiting for your call. We do know that it is the first time it's happened here at Mount Panorama, and we've been racing here for a very long time, so anytime you get a first here at Bathurst is really special. So into the lane comes the car that was quickest in practice number 2. Brett Hobson did the time. We just heard from Garth Walden, who owns and runs the team. Mike Sheargold from Ram Motorsport, heavily involved in this. And to show you the competitive fires that burn, this car was originally entered in the silver class, but then they decided the competition was better in Pro-Am and elevated themselves up a class to go into Pro-Am so they can have more of a race. And I love that competitive spirit. It's easy to say that on a Friday when results don't mean anything. We'll see how that plays out for them when we get to the podium at about 5:45 on Sunday afternoon. But they were
I still can't do it. I've just got to switch the
Practice
stream
three still
over.
Coming your way here from Mount Panorama at Maguire's Bathurst 12 Hour John Hindhoff, and we've got some more support racing sessions coming your way.
Okay, so about to switch now over to session number 2 for the weekend. Yeah, sorry, I won't be able to do it. Nothing happened. It's just alright, nothing's happened. I've just got to do some stuff. Now I'm going to switch sessions over. Hopefully I can do this session at some point. I would love to. But I suppose we'll wait and find out. But yeah, this is now practice 3. I'm not even sure what the times were for that last session. But yeah, it's now time for practice 3 for the Maguire's Bathurst 12 Hour. I'll be back in probably 20 minutes. I'll do it then. Promise.
We are into the second half of Fast Friday at the Maguires, Bathurst 12 hour. Welcome back to the mountain, everyone, as the cars roll out of pit lane for the third of 4 practice sessions today, ahead of Australia's International Enduro on Sunday morning. It's been a compelling day of action so far, 2 sessions running all the way through in both of them. This morning, BMW were quickest, the defending winners from Team WRT, with Kelvin van der Linde and Charles Beard set the quickest time of the day so far at a 2-minute 03.86. They were just a smidgen quicker than Scott Taylor Motorsport's Mercedes AMG. In practice number 2, just before lunch, it was Ram Motorsport and GW Australia quickest with their Mercedes AMG GT3. Brett Hobson and Garth Malden shared the driving duties there. BMW were quick again, though, in the bronze-only session, with the Team KRC M4 GT3 rounding out the top 2. So it's been an interesting start to the day, as I'm joined in commentary by Garth Tander and John Hindhoff. We'll have our team in pit lane to cover all the action as well. But this is the location, one of the great racetracks in the world, 6.213 Ks, 23 corners, and more than 170 metres of elevation change. We'll refer to some of the famous names around this place as well. The cutting has Ford branding on it this weekend for the first time. It looks spectacular. Toyota Gazoo Racing dipper down the hill to the BMW M elbow, and that famous long run down Conrod Straight into the fastest corner in Australian motorsport, into the chase, then down the bottom of the hill to complete 23 turns at 6.2 Ks. And on Sunday, there's a very good chance they could do it more than 300 times. John Hindhoff, Garth Tander, good afternoon. Just on 22 degrees now in Bathurst, so 8 degrees warmer than it was in practice 1 this morning. Bit of sunshine on the racetrack as well as we roll out into this third practice session of the day.
And that track temperature, as soon as it gets a little bit of sunshine on it, a little bit of a raise, it goes up exponentially, Garth, and this will be a very different racetrack now to what they had in the earlier 2 sessions.
And that's a very good point, John, that the conditions, although you say that there is slightly more sunlight on the racetrack, there's a lot more UV around, and the UV is what actually takes grip away from the circuit, particularly here at Panorama. So track temperature, yes, that will have risen, but you can see there's a definitive sun on the racetrack. 75 Sun Energy 1 car in the...
Build your fleet, explore the galaxy, and conquer the unknown. Take on enemies, level up your ships, and grow stronger with every battle. Strategize your fleet, swap ships, mine resources, and expand your command. Gather resources, upgrade your starbase, and unlock new possibilities. Strengthen your station. Build legendary ships and prepare for the next adventure. Your journey starts now. Boldly go where no one has gone before. Download Star Trek Fleet Command now.
Yes! Merry Christmas to me! Another win! It's a Christmas miracle! This is more magical than hot cocoa with extra marshmallows! All I wanted for Christmas was a final sticker! And I got it! Oh, Santa, you shouldn't have!
Final sticker? Magical? Is this gal playing Disney Solitaire? Huh. She's already got awesome present. Plus all this. She's gonna love it.
Very interesting one. People are understanding their cars. I went and caught up with Brad Schumacher. The Bathurst team this year is absolutely home for him. He got 16 laps in practice 2 earlier this morning, which he loved. Said it was nice to get in a rhythm, get some laps in a row. that they are battling that car. He said it's understeering on the way in and it's oversteering on the way out. So they're making quite a few big changes to that car. Understeers when it doesn't turn, oversteers when it turns too much and the rear tries to overtake the front on the exit of the corner. So they're working quite hard on that car. The other element that's going on right now is that everyone is very much keeping their powder dry. No one in this pit lane, irrespective of class or mark or team, wants to show what they've got from an outright lap speed. And this is a hearing moment down through the S's towards the Dipper as the Queen car is being bubbled up by the Penrite Racing Mercedes AMG. This is a dress rehearsal for Sunday. This will be a story of the race, as it always is here at Mount Panorama. So everyone keeping their powder dry at the moment. No one has showed what they've got. But at the same time, they're trying to understand their car, work out where they're struggling and tune them up to get them good, so that over 12 hours on Sunday, you can actually live with it rather than trying to put you in the fence every other lap.
It's fair to say that no one's really tried to weigh up, that's the real point. So that's where the factory drivers actually have a bit of an advantage over the drivers that don't drive these cars all the time, because they know exactly how the car should feel in certain conditions. So they can almost forecast, right, when we actually do start pushing, the car's going to feel like this, therefore I'm going to need X, Y, Z in the setup of the race car. Whereas when you're driving the car at 80% right now in practice, when you're not living in these cars full time, you don't know what you're going to need when it's time to go in qualifying. So that's the advantage of being a factory driver, being in these cars week in, week out.
Good to see the red and white Silver Cup entered Valandi Rossi Motorsport McLaren on the lane. We did not see that in the first session this morning. The only one of the 35 cars that didn't turn meaningful lap time.
There is always one challenging story at any Bathurst event, and that has been the story of the event so far. So if you've only just joined it, Valenti Rosso, that is a brand new car to them. They had a shakedown at Queensland Raceway, which, as Garth touched on in practice 2, is exactly nothing like Mount Panorama, except that it's a racetrack. So they shook the car down there. It is a new car to that team. They've had a whole lot of gremlins with it in the first practice session, including a gearbox fault where they ran the car up yesterday and it went into gear 5. Today would not engage gear. So they've been through the car. They had some fueling issues as well with it. So they feel confident now. They're going to go out and do an install lap to make sure that it's all good. And then they're going to try and get some laps with Ryland Gray and Bailey Hall in this session. So at least get some laps under the board under that brand new McLaren to Valenti Rosso. Hopefully they can get a couple of successful sessions under their belt, at least get some knowledge and some data before they roll into the 2 practice sessions tomorrow.
Chaz Mostert aboard the 222 Scott Taylor Motorsport AMG Mercedes. A different car again for Chaz. He's done plenty of driving in AMG Mercedes, but not here in Australia. He's been driving the Indy 8-hour race last year. Some driving at Daytona as well. So knows the car, but first time here at Mount Panorama in a Merc. Currently second fastest in the first sector on this lap. Had to get past one of the Ferraris down Conroe, which would give him a nice toe and a bit more top speed as he's made his way down to the chase.
And again, if you haven't been following the story, that's a relatively late entry for Chaz in that car, called up to the squad.
Oh, yes and no. It was part of their plan when they announced this in September last year. The program was announced that Scotty was going to have another run. He was the first entry into the race, which shows his level of commitment and passion to try and win this thing. Desperate to win it in an Aussie team with Aussie drivers and beat the Europeans at their own game. They're raising money for the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia. Speaking of Lara, who's behind that charity effort yesterday, and they'd already raised 50 grand and they hadn't really started yet. So which has been an amazing performance from them.
What did they win last year? 100 grand? So
they had last year, so they're aiming for 150. However, it was pitched to me yesterday that a good idea would be for them to aim for the car number.
I think I'm 50 grand before we really fire a shot. Surely we can, but we're a chance.
And just remember, whilst it's about raising money, it's about raising awareness as well for prostate cancer. And as we were talking about the other day, certainly all of that team would tell us, us blokes aren't very good at health matters. Let's be honest, we tend to think,
should be right.
But it won't be right. And it is not an invasive procedure anymore. You can get it done with PSA blood test.
if you have to hassle your general practitioner in your docs, then make sure you do, and get yourself a PSA blood test, and make sure you know exactly where you are when it comes to your health, and drop a few dollars in as well for that really good cause.
Rafael Marcello has gone quickest at 2:04.2, so first proper representative lap time. Here's Ricardo Fella, the Earl Bamber Motorsport Porsche, and if the livery looks familiar, it's because it is. It's the same scheme they ran on their Porsche, which won the race in 2019. Porsche's first Enduro win on the mountain, and he has gone quickest with that lap by the vast margin of 0.002 of a second. So a good lap by young Ricky, who first came here as an Audi factory driver in 2022. First race back after a little pause, and has been here every year since, and has been very, very fast. So he's a driver with plenty of miles now. Marcello back to second in the 46B. And while that was going on, Chris Haase went to fourth place in the Pro Class NPC Audi, coming to 55, and has immediately bailed into pit lane. Top four cars covered by Lactec in the second.
Well, guys, while we've got an opportunity here, I wanted to continue on talking to every different manufacturer running in this race. And why not come down to the McLaren garage, because things are exciting down here. Hello, Martin Vertopper. I've just surprised him. Welcome back to the mountain. Since the last time you raced here, you won a Rolex Daytona, but this race is still one that you won. Why is the victory at Bathurst so special?
I mean, it's always so nice to come here. It's one of the best tracks in the world, I think. So, the last time I've been here was back in 2020. Unfortunately, we didn't really get far that year, but we finished second the year before. We got quite close, obviously, with Jake and Matt sharing the car back then, the Aston Martin. So, yeah, hopefully we can have a good year this year, and we'll try our best to be up in front.
When you get to do laps around the mountain, does it feel familiar, like you haven't been away for so long?
Well, the first few laps were actually quite a bit tricky because, yeah, we are quite spoiled in Europe with tire warmers, which we don't have over here. So it takes a lap or two to actually really get them in the window. But no, after a couple of laps, it just felt like, yeah, I've been away maybe for like a couple of weeks, but not like 6 years.
When the weather is so overcast, too, it's harder to get even more heat because it's not Australia in the summer like we expected.
Yeah, it's been definitely very different compared to the last time we were here. But right now, I think no one will complain about having a bit of a cooler temperature. But I think for the weekend, it might look different. So we'll see.
Good luck, Marvin.
Thank you so much.
Noah, that one was just for you. I think there's something happening up on the mountain.
You're spot on, Jim. It's the high-class Porsche that's involved at least. Possibly into the car. Oh no, it's a big spin from the high-class Porsche, the red and white car. Has that hit anything right at the top of the mountain, Garth?
I know what they're going to do as soon as they get this car back to pit lane and know that it's okay. Is go straight down to the news agents and buy a lotto ticket, because you do not spin at the Exeter Repark often and get away with it. So you can see there, rotates it, gets away with it, spins right in the middle of the track. The Scott Taylor Motorsport Mercedes Chaz Moss, Thomas Randall's aboard that thing right now, so he's probably on an outlap and watching him Porsche spin at the blind part of the racetrack.
Well, I haven't seen the side of a 911 in front of me. Oh, now the back, now the front again.
I think the drivers just stopped here to gather their breaths. Like, did I just get away with that? Because
without hitting it.
Okay, I'm still alive, and let's drive back to pit lane. But what it will have done is it will have wrecked that set of tyres, absolutely. So that's one set of tyres down for the high-class team.
It's Anders Fjordback behind the wheel, making his Bathurst debut. Driver from Denmark, silver-ranked driver alongside Dorian Boccolacci and Carol Lee, who was quite quick in that car in the bronze session earlier on today. First-time squad coming to this part of the world. Excited to see Boccolacci in that car over a lap. He is a hot gun, so it's going to be very, very fast. Oh, here it is. Here is the Ford Mustang making its debut at Mount Panorama in GT3 form. We've seen them here in different specification cars over the GT, but great to see the GT3 and John Bondoff.
That Coyote 5.4 litre engine breathed on by the guys at M-Sport. Martin Wilson, who've been involved with Ford in World Rally Championship, of course, for quite a long time. They did the Bentley programme in GT3 as well. They know what they're doing. What a machine. Just the one car this year, but this represents something much bigger, I feel, as Ford have really found their feet again with their motorsport in the last couple of 3 seasons. If you're here on the mountain at the moment, listening on the FM or around the circuit, there is a Ford Racing Pavilion just off to drivers left coming to the end of Conrod and down through the chase. If you're here today and you want to wander up there and you're a Ford owner, you've got your keys, and then you can go in there and take a little look from there. Ford are back. That's big news. And Ford are back in motorsport globally in just about everything on four wheels, on and off road. The only thing that can expand into next is World Superbikes or MotoGP. And not quite the core. Indeed not. Mark Rushbrook is here again. He's the man at the head of motorsport around the world. Jim Farley races. He's the man behind the big desk in Detroit. The very big desk in Detroit. A very handy GT4 and classic racer is Mr. Farley. And this, it just adds another level, Garth, doesn't it? Not just because it's Ford in GT3 racing globally, but here in Australia at the moment, to have the blue oval versus, all right, it's not the lion's head, it's the bow tie, but it is Ford versus GM again.
Yeah, it's great that Ford are making their GT debut here at the 12 hour at the same time that Chevrolet do with the Corvette.
Absolutely poetic.
We do all know that this place, the history that goes with the Ford and GM connection with GM when it used to be Holden.
Hello guys, I'm back.
This place, the whole story about Bathurst was the Ford versus
Are we?
thing.
I just need to go to the bathroom.
Both those brands debuting their GT cars here in this race at the same year. It's almost poetic, isn't it, that it happens at the same time. So, do not think that they are not looking at each other. They're looking at everyone else, but they are looking at each other. Because if they can't win it, we're at least going to have the best debut, and we're going to have the better debut than the other guys. That's regardless whether you're GM or Ford.
It's a true story, and JMR on the opposing side for the bow tie will be doing exactly the same thing for Chevrolet, and both of their Australian marketing arms will be watching very, very closely. It's Christopher Mees behind the wheel, double winner of this race. There's also another little subplot that is worth talking about, and it's a rare thing in Bathurst history. Now, there's Bathurst doubles, but the 12-hour 1000 back-to-back has only ever been done once. It was Techno Autosport did it. They won the Great Race and the 12-hour at the same year. 12-hour with McLaren, the 1000 with the Commodore a bit later on that year. So there's two subplots here. One, Great Racing won Bathurst 1000. John, I'm not sure if you're aware, but they won Bathurst 1000 in October last year. Did they? Okay, we'll come back to that because one of the Tigani Autosport Mercedes AMGs is up the escape road. That's a turn one. Yeah. Keep going further there. Turn left up to the campground, top of the mountain. Turn right down to Boundary Road, the road out to Orange and Cowra. But he's just gone a little bit down the escape road.
Oh, I just had to help my dad with some stuff. So.
Give way to cars on coming in.
I'm going to do it, Adam.
No apparent damage, so that's a good recovery for them. So to finish the point, Road Racing looking to go back-to-back to win the 1000 and the 12, but the manufacturer is looking to do the same. So Ford won the Bathurst 1000, the Mustang, and have an opportunity for the first time in history to win the 12-hour with a Mustang, having won the Great Race in October. All these little subplots that weave throughout this race. That's just another one to follow on Sunday.
So when Techno did it, though, they did 12-hour 1000.
12-hour first. Start of the year, 1000.
So this would be
wrestling at the end.
Indeed so.
He was involved in that.
He was involved in that as well. Absolutely, a GT. Mr. Six, as we're calling him now. So that would be Great Race first, the 1000 first, and then the 12. So not in the same calendar year, but still two races back to back on the bank. So yeah, okay, I get that. That's another nice little subplot.
It'll be a huge accomplishment for Road Racing, which is the team that's come on in leaps and bounds over the last couple of years. Brexit Grove was telling me yesterday there's 2 degrees of separation everywhere in that team, with engineers that have been here and have linked up, and you've been in there, and Will Davison's there and reunited with old people. It's a really cool vibe. And Kyle Allen, who we touched on earlier in the practice session, has been doing a really nice job behind the wheel. So Lauren Clark has gone quickest now in the number 61 car. The Porsche goes to the top of the timesheets for the first time today, just in front of the number 46 BMW at 0.08 of a second. The 222 is still third. The time that Chaz Mostert did was 204.2. Actually, I tell a lie. Thomas Randall's just done that lap time. 204.24 is 9/100ths away from the quickest time. So no one's going quicker but it's all condensing up. You know, there's 13 cars covered by 1 second.
So the Alabama Motorsport 61 crew
Finished before you.
So that's 2 drivers in that car that have topped the session. So as a driving unit, that fills you with confidence that you've got 2 of your 3, and we haven't seen the 3rd driver yet, but you've got 2 of the 3 that are capable of topping the time session at any given time. So the car's clearly very fast, but the drivers are very comfortable in it as well. So,
Generally speaking,
Indeed.
if you were sort of advising the team,
I was already ready, if you know what I mean.
Driver the full 40 minutes.
no, not today. Not today, because today you're still.
You've got the upper hand.
I was curious to hear that even at the Audi team that they were really chasing the racetrack and chasing the setup of the car, because the track is going to change significantly over the course of today and tomorrow. So really, all you're doing today is rolling through your driving roster. Just making sure you're rotating your drivers over. Everyone's getting enough laps so that when they go to sleep tonight and they put their head on their pillow and they run through their head and how they're going to drive their lap tomorrow, they've got enough data in the brain to go through what they need to improve and what they need to work on. And you don't want a driver going to bed tonight thinking, oh, we've only got 1 more day left before qualifying, I need to get some laps in, and they're starting to stress. Yeah. So it's less about the car today, more about the drivers. And you're gathering information and gathering data. So even the Ford at the moment, Chris Mills, I can't even see where he is on the timing screen, but he's not in the top 15.
Alright, all good.
But they're just gathering information, gathering data, and I would imagine that car's going to be a whole lot stronger tomorrow. They're just making sure all the drivers get a drive of the car, understand what the car behaviour is so they can contribute to the solution overnight.
I think at the moment, Johnny, that car and Brock Feeney's now behind.
There you go. Just absolutely underlined what the great man has said alongside us. And I always think, I am so used to going to big races where I'm sitting in the booth doing an hour and a half of free practice, an hour and a half of free practice, an hour of free practice. And here, today, there's 4 40-minute sessions. Yeah. There really isn't a lot of time here to go through a quote-unquote program. If you're not rolling off the truck somewhere close, then you really haven't got a lot of time to gather that information to be able to make. You're not going to make swinging changes to the car setup, are you?
No, you might make reasonable sized changes to the setup today to sort of make sure that you are in the close enough window so that you can fine tune tomorrow. Right. But you don't have a lot of time, John. So your point, not a lot of sessions and not a lot of time. So the pro and the pro-am teams, they get 80 minutes today and they've got to share that across 4 drivers. So a 2+ minute lap. So 80 minutes. So you're not even going to get. Last session, I think we saw cars doing 17 laps. Yeah. So as a driver, you're lucky to get 15, 16 laps today. That's it. That's your total. Good point. Going into tomorrow, the sessions are a little bit longer tomorrow. You only got 2 of them tomorrow for the whole grid, and then you're into qualifying. And only 1 driver's going to qualify the car. But especially at the top end of town, you're just thinking your one gun in, tighten the belts up, kick front tires out. That's their job.
The other element and another reason to roll through driver changes in this session is it's a hot pit lane, so they're allowed to refuel in this session as well.
Welcome back.
You go through all the race simulation stuff in this session too. So pit entry, attacking.
Are you watching along, Adam, or not?
Managing the time from pit entry to pit out to the timing lines, which is going to be so crucial on Sunday. We'll touch more on that as the weekend builds on. But then also the approach to the pit bay, the stop, the coupling of the fuel nozzle, the time of the fuel going, the fuel flow rate, the process.
Have you got it linked up, Adam?
That can make or break your Sunday. This session in practice 5 and the 2 where you can practice that in full race.
So yes, there's a lot going on track, but there's a lot going on off track right now as well that we're not seeing.
And yesterday when we weren't on track,
I'm on part 2 of the live stream, and I'm 2 hours 34 behind. Yeah, so part 2, and I'm 2 hours 34 back. 2 hours 34 minutes back.
There is a time to do this.
I love it when the teams, they get out there millimetre perfect. They measure where the tape on the ground go, and they measure it to the closest 5 millimetres and all the rest of it. Let's watch when the race happens on Sunday, how close any of the drivers go to any of those marks. Yeah. Because you never, ever get close. And I actually was really surprised because up the pit exit end of pit lane towards the pit exit, not all the way, all the Mercedes teams are pitted together. Yeah, also. And they've got no room in between their pit boxes. It is so super tight. So you're actually not going to get in or get out. If there's all the Mercs come at the same time, they'll be landlocked. It'll be like gridlocked getting in and out of their pit boxes. So Yeah, it's funny when the teams go to their level of attention to detail, they forget to pass the memo on to the drivers. It'd be really nice if you park in somewhere in the same postcode as where we've got our graphics on the ground.
I think it was here, at one of the races here, where the team laid out and hammered down the tape, don't they, so it doesn't get pulled up. And the marks for where the front tyres were, either side of that, there was 1 pint, 2 pints, 3 pints. And depending on how far you went through, the driver had to buy everybody on the team a pint, 2 or 3 pints.
That's their unit of compensation.
Correct.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
And race car drivers are notoriously hard to get the line open. So you would be absolutely picture perfect every time, wouldn't you? Yeah. Good motivation to stop on your marks.
And we should say, mind you, we have Mark Webber in here this morning, and he went on the coffee run for us. Mark Webber went on the coffee run this morning for Quilty and myself. Turned down the coffee, he was caffeined up and up.
Okay, I'm going to deal with Mark Wilson, so it's fine.
Let's go down to L4 Pit Lane, here's Chad.
Pit stop. Kyle Sparkler has just got into the car in front of me down here, which is the immaculate Alabama Motorsport Porsche. Now, I don't have in front of me at the moment, guys, the timing screen to see how long that car has been in pit lane, but you guys do. Could you just quickly update me with a number? Because I dare say it's quite large, around the 3 to 4 minute mark.
4 minutes, Chad.
4 minutes. Now, that was, believe it or not, a driver change simulation.
Uh-oh.
You might want to cut down the time on that driver change a little bit. It took them 3 attempts to get Klaus's belts done up properly. It looked to me like they were feeding them back through the holes in the race seat to get them lined up right. That was not even close to being in the ballpark for those guys for what they needed for that driver change practice just then. Now that car, is it still on top of the timing? I've been out here in the pit for a while. The other funny thing about that is when it pulled up in the pits here, they had the mechanics go down the right-hand side and they gave the right front wheel a little shimmy to see if everything was done upright, and then they went around in the splitter and they started shaking the front end of the splitter as well, which would suggest to me
You're all in.
Oh, was there ads that played as well, Adam? Were there ads that played at any point?
the pits before they set it up. So it's fast, yes. That's the good news. And yes, both drivers, like you mentioned, Garth, have been quick, but they have had an issue, certainly with their pit stop practice, and I reckon they've made a little vibration in that car as well.
Neither of the drivers is aware of any issue. They're both sitting here quite happily with the laps that they've been able to turn. Lauren Heinrich actually debriefing with the Pirelli engineer right now to give him feedback. So I'm going to jump in with Ricky Feller because for Ricky, that was a good start to the session. Hey, friend, how are you? Welcome back to Bathurst.
Thank you. Yeah, it was not too bad. Park was really good. Track, awesome like always. Yeah, happy to be back.
You know this track, but we've seen you with other manufacturers. What's it like to be driving Bathurst in a Porsche?
It's pretty sick. Car feels really good over the top. The high-speed part. Yeah, really looking forward to the first race with the Porsche.
And for Lauren, I mean, this is a big race for you, of course. Congratulations on the Rolex winner. Have you been wearing the watch?
Not yet, actually. Didn't get the chance yet, but I will thoroughly enjoy once I get back for sure.
Not many laps to do today because of such little practice time, but does the Porsche feel like the Porsche you jumped out of last year when it was second?
I mean, the Porsche I jumped out of last year was a strong benchmark, that's for sure, but we're getting there. It's still early days in the weekend. For sure, arriving here, you know, we are actually, this is the last race for the non-Evo car for us, so the teams, all of them, they have quite some experience already, so it's good now. Even if it's early days, we already have a decent car balance, but yeah, I mean, I would say it's more about getting the drivers comfortable now, because on this track it's all about confidence.
Well, good luck to both of you, and it's already a fan favorite livery. Let's see if we can put it on the top step.
Thank you.
Thanks to Shane Chad down in a very busy pit lane. So Klaus Bachelor behind the wheel of the Urban Motorsport Porsche. Interestingly enough, I mentioned Lauren Heinrich was in the car before the Austrian jumped in a middle sector. As Will Brown, by the way, goes quickest and first into the threes in this session at a 2:03.8. Lauren in a middle sector, which was every bit good enough for a pole position lap at this place. We'll put him in the low ones. And then, so we talked about keeping the powder dry. That's exactly what they're doing. The long pit stop would be an interesting one to get to the bottom of. But these pit stop simulations going on now, bleeding the tyres at Gaia Valmont Racing. And then, as part of the Tagani team, you find the brothers Conduras from Canberra, Supermarkets entry, going through their work.
Yeah. They decided to load that.
Good drivers tap into that car as well. In the 47 car, Zach Bates was behind the wheel making his GT3 debut. Canberra connection there with Bates family and the Kundurus boys. Great to have Zach in the field making his GT3 debut as the Mustang goes up to...
Oh, please don't tell me my internet's just crashed. Am I all good? Am I still live? Am I all good? Hello, hello. Am I still good? Adam, do you copy? Do you copy, Adam? I hear you, bro. Okay. My internet is going real slowly at the moment, so we're this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. My internet is slowed down dramatically. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, my internet slowed down. Okay, come on. Please work.
There with Bates family and the third taking place. There's now 15 cars coming away exactly 1.0 seconds. So we touched on the field starting to condense and get a bit closer as we work our way towards the end of this practice session.
Yeah, we're all good, I think. No, we're not all good. See, now I'm leaving in 11 minutes, and this session has 9 minutes to go. So we might not be able to finish the end of FP3 here, so bear with me. Bear with me while my internet does its thing. So where are we? 2 hours, 36 minutes and 5 seconds behind. Okay, that is good to know. 2.3605. I'm going out for dinner soon, so I'm leaving in 11 minutes exactly. So, if my internet decides to play up on me here, ladies and gentlemen, we could have an early end of this stream. We're running to a time schedule of... I'm meant to be due out here in 5:28 local time. So, get me something to eat. You're funny. You're a funny one. You're a funny one, Adam. You're a real funny one. Okay, I'm going to switch internets. 2:36:05 is the time that we're looking at. YouTube is still giving me notifications. It's still giving... there we go. We're back. YouTube is now working. But it's still running at 144p. Wish I was there, not gonna lie. Of course you do. Of course you do. Okay. Wow, why are you showing me free practice for? What the flip is this? 2:36:05. 2:36:05. 2:36:05. 2:36:26 will do. And we're good. We're back.
Will Brown, about half a second away.
Okay, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna commentate the rest of this session. So why not? But yeah, we have Will Brown at the moment at the top on a 203.8, and Klaas Backler on a 204.1, Valentino Rossi on a 204.2, and Cameron Waters on a 204.2 as well. Jules Goon on a 204.3, with Charles Verts on a 204.6. That is your top 6 cars. James Golding in the Pro-Am class. I probably should write that down. P-A-M is green. I'm just labelling this for Sunday. So in the Pro-Am class at the moment, Leah in the Pro-Am class is a 204.6. I was going to explain this in halfway through free practice too, but I had things to do. So what I'm going to explain now is the way that on your left-hand side of your screen, you'll see all the timings, all of that sort of stuff. You'll see all the timing indications or purple. Now, one thing I've got 2 things to explain with about 6.5 minutes to go. So the yellow little thingies that are popping up on your screen, those are still timing sectors, but that just means they've gone slower than anyone through the first, second, or third split of around this circuit, or as we call it in racing terms, sectors. So those are the that is the slowest out of anyone, and then you can see Marco Merpelli in the 93 Lamborghini, the gold-rated car, 93. He's gone purple through the first sector, but has decided to box, so he's into the pit lane now. So yeah, those yellow little bars that are popping up on the left-hand side or right-hand side, just behind the names are the timing splits for the cars, as I said. But yeah, and then you've got the personal best, which is the green, the 2 green bars that pop up as well. And those will pop up in one singular bit. And Lee Holdsworth has just gone up into P10 on his personal best on a 204.7. This is the 13th place Lamborghini Marco Mapelli, currently pit stop practicing as they throw a brand new set of Pirelli rubber at the car. The one thing that you probably aren't used to now, we're doing pit stops. So there will be driver changes, fuel will be added to the cars, and tyres coming off the cars, and brand new rubber being thrown at the car. Well, not physically thrown at the cars, but new tyres being put on the cars as well. There are many different... I will explain this if throughout the race as well, as pit stops happen. So I'll be explaining this, of course. Is that because it's a 12-hour race? Yes. So you can't do a whole 12-hour race on your own. That you would physically die from. You can physically not do a 12-hour race on your own. You would physically die. No, not physically. You would literally die. You would faint. There is no way, no one in the history of motorsport has done a 12-hour race on their own. But yeah, so I'll explain how the pit stops and all that sort of stuff work as the race goes on. Yeah, that would be wild. No, it wouldn't be wild if you were in the position. You'd be dead. No, I'm saying that legitimately. As we watch the 46 BMW Valentino Rossi make his way over the top of the mountain. The famous MotoGP driver, champion back in 2018. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, Edwin. Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How are you? I'm good. Valentino Rossi making his way over the top of the mountain now for the first of, not for the first of many times, but for many times so far, Valentino Rossi. In the 46 BMW, the WRT team will be hoping to put on a good performance. We've got 3.5 minutes to go, and I think my family are getting